Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. How's everyone doing out there in the arm wrestling world? Hey Chuck, Muscle Bike, Tomer. How you all doing? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome to Arm Historian Live, of course. Like every Sunday. How you guys doing? Had a good weekend? Good time watching East versus West for those of you that did? Hey Muscle Bike, I'm doing well, man. How's it going with you? Hope everything is well over there. Is it as warm there as it is here? It's really hot outside and inside. I've got the fan going, so I hope it doesn't mess up the audio too much. Let me know if it does. I can adjust some things. Also, for some reason, chat overlay widget isn't working. Don't know why. But yeah, maybe I'll try to fix it during the stream, but for now we'll have to do without. But I think we'll manage. Chuck says it's wonderful after Saturday with arm wrestling. Nothing can be wrong. Like to hear that, Chuck. Let me do a quick poll for you guys. I'm very interested to know who of you saw East versus West. How many of you, roughly? There we go, started a poll. Hey Troy Tueller, how you doing? Says, dude, that was probably the best event the sport has seen. Yeah, definitely up there, in my opinion too. Muscle Bike says it was 28 Celsius today, thank God for aircon. Yeah, aircon isn't really a thing here, where I'm at. Especially in people's houses. In shops and stuff, you'll get some aircon every now and then, but in houses, no way. That's very rare. So yeah, we hit 30 plus today at certain points, and it's only going to get worse from here on, so yeah. Chuck says Devon was bullying Chance in his corner, then Artem tried a bit of bodyguarding, I guess. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the event in general, go over the matches, most of them at least, and I'll talk about some interesting stuff that happened, right? The Devon Chance match is definitely one of those things that we'll talk about at length, probably. Chuck says, then Jody came close, she got pushed a bit, and then Devon went on Artem. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Muscle Bike says, I didn't buy the pay-per-view. There are other channels I prefer to support instead, including Arm Gods and, of course, Arm Historian. I hear you, Muscle Bike. Yeah, I hear you. That's fine. You don't have to watch every pay-per-view. You'll get to see the matches in like a couple of weeks anyways, right? Or however long it takes, maybe even 1 week. Chuck says, hard to say at the beginning. I think he was okay, but when Jody got involved, he got a bit more aggressive. Okay, so let's talk about the Devon Chance thing first. Let's start with that right away. I don't think they've got like a Devon Chance match card here on the website, which is weird because they did make one. I saw one on social media somewhere, but yeah, for some reason they didn't get around to posting it on the website. Also, like before I get into the matches, notice how every one of these matches, yeah, now they've amended this one, but yeah, they all say right arm, right, except this one. I think I got a couple of them wrong in my video because I was going off the information given to me from the official East versus West website, right? But it seems like they didn't quite get each of their matches right. Yeah, it was unfortunate because, you know, I should have done more due diligence, I guess. But I figured straight from the source must be the best way, right? Yeah, I guess that was wrong. Let's see if I can pull up another picture here to kind of illustrate what we're going to be talking about first. I'll just show the thumbnail. I think that makes sense. And there we go. Some on the fly stuff here. So yeah, the Devon Chance match, really interesting match, I thought. I think Chance did a good job, although probably he's gonna be facing a lot of criticism. He was facing criticism during the match even, not only from Devon, but also from the commentary booth to a degree. Especially Neil Pickup felt the pushing was quite outrageous and quite obvious. Other people might disagree there. Let me turn the music down a little. I think it's too loud. Seems chat is working again, or at least some form of chat is working again. That's nice, I guess, although it looks kind of crappy. But yeah, okay. That's something. Let me make myself a little smaller here. There we go. So yeah, interesting match. Chance definitely surprised me. I think he surprised a lot of people. Yeah, and he got a round off Devon. Now granted, I think he did foul Devon out, right? He didn't actually pin him. Tomer says, every pay-per-view that I've bought has been ruined. Devon versus Dennis, my laptop ran out of battery before their match. Devon versus Lavan, I had to go to bed, so I missed the first round. That sucks. It sounds like most of the things that were ruined were on your end, though. So ultimately solvable, right? The Fearless Spectrum says, 165 pounds middleweight. I'm back. Hello, Fearless Spectrum. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Jacobian says, yeah, I want to see footage of that wrestling match. Couldn't see it anywhere. Yeah, I watched it live. I didn't watch the replay quite yet. So I might have to take another look at it. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't share it during the live stream for obvious reasons. But yeah, pretty interesting, I guess. Like, I missed a small part of it, but it seems like Artem was kind of mockingly trying to keep Devon away from Chance's corner by, like, kind of tackling him. Not too hard or anything. And then Jody got involved or something, and yeah, then Devon got angry and basically guillotined Artem. I hope he's okay, but I think he is. If anyone knows, let me know. Tomer says, I also had to see Hermes versus Devon muted. That's unfortunate. Anytime you have to see an arm wrestling match muted, especially with someone like Devon there, you're kind of missing out. And Hermes too, of course. Muscle Bike says, I'm a Devon fan also, but I've never been a fan of Jody getting involved so much that her mouth is huge. I guess she is leveraged due to Devon's status, but I'm not the only one who sees this. Yeah, for sure, I think in general, and I don't know if it makes sense to impose those rules, but in general, arm wrestling doesn't really have a lot of rules as far as, or at least not a lot of strict rules as far as who can be on the stage, right, or near the table during a match. So yeah, I do definitely hear you on that. Jaydan says, Chance had a chance. Indeed he did. He did have a chance, despite what Devon's intro song might have told you. XAZ, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Tomer says, advert just happened. Did an advert happen on my stream? Because usually I turn my ads off. So if it did happen, let me know. And yeah, they must be on for some reason. I don't know. I'll turn them back off. But usually they should be off, so... Jacobin says, Jody is one of the most famous women in arm wrestling. Yeah, that's true. That's true to a degree. Jody also did arm wrestle at a certain point. She had a match in WAL and stuff. Troy Tueller says, yeah, no pin. Makes sense, yeah, that's what I remember. He won on falls, indeed. Must be behind a little bit here on chat. Awesome, the Fearless Spectrum. I won a new record, halfway curl, 8 pounds, 3 reps. Awesome, 80-pound dumbbells. Yeah, I was about to say 8 pounds sounds a little light, but you do you. But 80 pounds, yeah, that's impressive. Well done, man. Tomer says, fouling your opponent out is part of the game. You can't critique him for doing that. Sure, Devin has done that many times himself. Yeah, I'm also of the opinion that as long as you operate within the rules, everything is fair game, right? It makes sense that pro athletes will kind of look for the edges in cases like that, right? And they're actually competing at an elite level. I think it makes sense to look for the edges of the rules. To a degree, of course. There is such a thing as good sportsmanship, for sure. But in general, I think it's a pretty good mindset to go in and get away with as much as you can. If you want to win, if that's your main goal, of course. As Muscle Bike reminded us at the start of the stream, if you can, please take a second to hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you do that too. Views are kind of down again. They usually are this time of year. I noticed on several other channels the same thing happening. I think it's kind of normal for sports-related channels to be down, but still, yeah, it would help me get a little more traction on stuff like the live streams if you can hit that like button. Thanks for that. Jaydan says, what was your favorite match? Now, that's a difficult question, Jaydan. Yeah, there's a couple of matches that spring to mind. I loved the John Leonidas match. Also for the kind of the stuff around the match and after the match. So yeah, difficult question. I think I'll come back to it later in the stream once we've gone over a little more matches. That makes sense, right? Friendly Face says John winning was the best part. Yeah, there you go. That was one of the most uplifting parts. Was John Brazing doing really well and yeah, getting support from the entire arm wrestling community. I think in general the event, the atmosphere in the event was really good. Yeah, on par if not better than a lot of the other East versus West events. John was amazing yesterday, says Chuck. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Chuck says, are we doing viewer calls today? I might. Even if some people want to call in, yeah, I might open it up. I'm, like, as a rule, I'm in general open to getting people to call in. People that genuinely want to call in, because last time I did it, I had someone calling in with less than good intentions, so you'll definitely get screened a bit before I let you on the live stream. The Fearless Spectrum says Rombath versus Devon was awesome, WAL. Yeah, Rombath and Devon are, I think they have a long and storied history in arm wrestling facing each other, and they've gone back and forth a lot. In general, their matches are really great. I think there's this famous match at My Gold Classic, if I'm not mistaken, after Devon returned from active duty somewhere. He's clearly in peak physical condition and he's facing a very strong Rombath that's quite a bit younger than he is today. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite matches of all time, I think. I think you can find that over on ARM TV, but I'm not too sure. Jacobian says Cobra did great post-match interviews on YouTube, maybe a bit too short. Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't had time to look them all over. Been quite busy today, but I did hear about that, and that Cobra did a really great job. A lot of people were calling for Cobra to replace Ray. But yeah, make of that what you will. I think Ray in general does a good job, but Cobra for sure is also suited for this, I think. And Devon also does great interviews, says Jacobin. Yeah, I think Devon is in general relaxed and doesn't mind letting the arm wrestlers do the talking, which is good. Plus, he asks some poignant questions, right? Because he's an arm wrestler himself and that involved with the sport, I think he asks a lot of the right questions. Troy says this event was for sure more satisfying if you are a Western arm wrestler, but I'm super happy Yannis got a win. I was hoping Ray would win, but props to Ryan. Strong motherfucker. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of surprises, right? Let's jump into the matches. Let's go over them kind of one by one. We can jump around a little bit, but I think that'll be a good way to get the conversation rolling. I don't think they're in order, right? What was the first match? Was it Ryan versus Ray? It might have been, right? And I think Ryan Ballinger kind of destroyed Ray, if I remember correctly. Which I didn't expect. But good to see, I guess. The Fearless Spectrum says, how's the pulling practice? If you're asking me, it's going well in general. I kind of made the load a little lighter by going from pulling 2 times a week to only doing table practice on Saturdays. To kind of give my wrists some time to heal. I'm not convinced yet if I'm going to be joining the Nationals this year. But if I want to have any chance of joining them, I want my wrist to at least be at a decent level. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But so far it's going pretty well. It's recovering quite nicely. Jaydan says hopefully John recovers for his match next month. Yeah, he kind of alluded to the fact that he needs the rest, right? After the Leonidas match, which is certainly understandable. Chuck says I would like to hop on later if you don't mind me butchering with an accent. Yeah, Chuck, I'll see if I open it up to viewers today. I might do that, depending on where we get talking about the matches. But definitely, I've seen you around a bunch. So yeah, definitely the next time I do viewer call-ins, whether it's today or next Sunday, yeah, you can go on for sure. Your accent doesn't matter here. Jacobin says, why do you think this crowd had so much more energy? That's tough to say, right? I think there was more people. Just in general, more people there. I don't know, maybe it's just kind of a cultural thing. I don't know. Really hard to say. What are your thoughts, Jacobin? Maybe people from the US can shed some light on it. Why was the crowd so energetic? Troy says Americans are loud, but also this event was basically made as vengeance for the West. Makes sense. Saka says, how good do you think Jerry can do against Levon? That's a question on a lot of people's minds, right? How good will Jerry be able to do against Levon? I mean, he dominated Alex in this match. Let's not mince words. And I don't think that's an easy feat. On the other hand, I've seen a lot of people say that we might have been overestimating Alex Kurdecha somewhat. Which, you know, might be true, right? Hard to say. But yeah, I'd love to see him try. I'd love to see Levon in any match. Or Jerry, for that matter. David Tome says it was an awesome card. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It over-delivered, in my opinion. I thought it was a good card coming into the event. But I think it over-delivered for the most part. There were a few audio issues that I noticed. Like, at a certain point, and it lasted for a couple of matches, there was some static on the mic, some garbly static. That was quite distracting, but all in all, pretty good. I think for some reason the camera angles were better. I don't know why, but they seemed more dynamic, like moving around and actually filming the important points, the important moments, even in between matches. Tomer says, I think Americans generally are just louder because they don't think loudness is impolite in homes. They are more comfortable being loud, I would say. Okay. Chuck says cultural, and other factor that come to mind at USA as one country. Everyone was cheering hard for their countrymen while in Istanbul. Many people might not be so much into every athlete. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. The fact that Americans could basically cheer for anyone from any state in America or Canada for that matter. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Florin Monks is definitely a cultural thing. Hey Saka, no worries man, you can ask me a question anytime. If I read it, I'll answer it. Jerry or Vitaly are probably the best opponents for Levant, says Jaydan. That's what a lot of people are saying. Muscle Bike says, isn't Alex more lefty biased? And it was a righty match against Jer, so it was somewhat to be expected. Okay, yeah, that's definitely fair. I don't know if I would say Alex is more lefty biased, but he definitely is very strong on the left-right. So yeah, I can see that. Tripwire says great event. Yeah, I agree. It was a good event. Jacobin says, yeah, not sure really. Alcohol culture makes sense. People partying more during the lead up. Now there's a good point, Jacobin. I wonder if alcohol was served during the event, because I can't imagine it would be served during the Istanbul events, right? I don't think so. Ahmed says, where do I watch East vs West 14? Please tell me. You can watch it over at Core Sports, Ahmed. Yeah, if you don't want to pay for it, you can wait for a week or so. Otherwise, it'll be the high seas for you, my friend. Chuck says, yep, they had a few very nice camera movements. Indeed, I think they did a good job. Core Sports, I believe, produced this one again. I think they did a really good job there. Devin's Forearm says there was a real crowd there, added to the enjoyment from this side of the screen, for sure. Yeah, I think the fact that, 1,000 people were there definitely helped, for sure. Robbie says Devin was weaker. I think he of the cycle and the 40 pounds he lost. Yeah. Definitely, I think Devin's weight played into how the match went, right? I think that's only logical. I don't know about the off-cycle thing, but if he was off-cycle, then yeah, makes sense too. It's strange, right? Because it's this thing that keeps, I don't know, that has such a massive influence on athlete performance and whether an athlete is doing well and on the outcome of matches. Whether or not the athletes are on or off cycle or where they are in their cycle or whatever. And still, it's this thing that isn't really talked about. Really? It is, but kind of it isn't, right? I don't think you'll ever hear any commentator mention it, which, you know, it makes sense, right? Considering the culture, kind of, but it is weird to me a little bit how it's a thing that has such a big influence on everything related to the outcome of the match, but it's like a factor that just isn't talked about at all. At least not by anyone officially, right? Or by any of the athletes themselves. At least not a lot of them. Tomer says, I really truly believe that Jerry was going to have a bad night. I was really surprised when he won. I think we need to reevaluate Alex's strength and Georgie's strength too. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, wasn't Georgie's foot like hanging off or something during the last time they had a match? I think Georgie was in a really bad shape, right? Same thing for Jerry. When he lost his match, I think he was in pretty bad shape. Yeah, it's always hard to say. Jacobin says hometown crowd probably helps a lot. Makes sense, Jacobin. Barely any Turkish arm wrestlers, actually. Yeah, true. Chuck says that few when they went from viewers into the table, this kind of panoramic shots were awesome. I agree. they did a good job there. Xay says Levon is very smart, more technical and significantly stronger than Kurdecha. He predicted Jerry winning that one, but against Hulk himself, I would not give Jerry more than 20 to 25% chance. Yeah, I think 20 to 25% chance is, yeah, maybe not that unrealistic, although I still think it's a little generous, to be honest. Chuck says we need to see more of Alex, but maybe it was problems with levers. He didn't look comfortable on the table. Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. I think both of those guys are big, and especially with Jerry's style going forward and relying on shoulder commitment, he takes up a lot of space on the table, and maybe Alex is one of the pullers that needs room to work on the table, you know what I mean? It looked quite crowded. Hey, Muscle Bike, thank you for linking my Engin Thursday episode. Yeah, like I said before, views-wise, isn't really taking off. Nothing is really taking off on the channel views-wise lately. But that's okay. It's a little discouraging sometimes, especially if you put like a couple of months of work into one episode, into one video. But all in all, yeah, it's kind of to be expected, I guess. Makes sense that not all people are interested, right? Edwin Lindbergh says, in recent events I have gotten codes and such, and then so they can shut down pirated streams, but there were none now, right? Definitely there's always pirated streams, Edwin Lindbergh, for sure. Yeah, I try to keep up to date with that. Personally, I've bought every single East vs West event and King of the Table event. I watch them with a couple of trading partners, and we just want to no issue stream. But yeah, there definitely were pirated streams, as there always are. Tomer says, I'm not American, so I don't know, but I think Americans are generally not so keen to have alcohol. Interesting, but in Europe it's much more ingrained in our society with pubs and giving bottles of wine to family. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I definitely know that as a European, alcohol is definitely ingrained in our society, but like I feel like for America that's the same, right? Maybe it expresses itself in different ways, where they consume alcohol in slightly different circumstances, but I think in general alcohol is pretty well ingrained into the American culture, right? I would guess. Doper says, what do you think about Michael Todd match? Let's move over to the Michael Todd match. Let's talk about that one for a minute. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, Michael Todd, Kamil Jablonski. I think a lot of people were expecting a lot out of Kamil Jablonski, and he couldn't really deliver during this match. That being said, of course, Kamil is really fast, really strong. Don't underestimate him, but I think Michael Todd is an easy person to underestimate. As another elite puller, right? Especially someone that is relatively new to the really elite, top of the elite scene. I think it's really easy to underestimate an opponent like Michael Todd. You think, King's move, he's come back so many times, he's hurt his arm so many times. Yeah, how strong can he really be? I bet I beat it. I've got some King's movers in my training, and I've trained with them. I know how to beat the King's move. But I think then when you actually face Michael Todd, you're faced with like decades of experience on the table in a lot of different ways. Yeah, and people tend to underestimate him, I believe. Especially people that haven't pulled him before. I think if Kamil Jablonski would face Michael Todd a month from now, he might do better. I don't think he'd necessarily win, but he might do better than he did in the event. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the match. Troy says, seeing the videos with Johnny Walker is great. That guy is awesome. Yeah, I agree. Johnny is like one of these figures that I've been wanting to make a video on. And like now might be a good time for that. Tripwire says the way Prutnik lost shocked me. Was not supposed to be that easy. That's true. Judging by the previous match, you would expect Prutnik to take it again, but it seems, yeah. I mean, you can't really blame Prutnik for maybe not being at the top shape, right? He is in a country that he's not fully used to yet. Yeah, and who knows what he's going through on a personal level, right? I don't really know. Yeah, I think Prutnik in general was good fun during the event. He's a good loser in general, so that's always good to see. But Todd just, yeah, too strong, man. That guy is something different. I don't know how he does it. Maybe it's just the way his training seems to be so quote-unquote one-dimensional that he's just so honed in on what he does best. I don't know. But it's really interesting, especially at that age, to see him perform that well against guys way younger and really established guys, for that matter. Devin needs more pancakes, says Jade Han. Prutnik needs to go back on cycle, but I understand him wanting to keep his singing voice as Stomer. Yeah, that's right, I did hear something about that. Yep, that might be something to do with that, I don't know. There's probably a lot of factors, right, that led to him losing the match. Don't think we should discount him at that level quite yet, but yeah. Troy Tueller says, just so you know, I did get an advert. Oh, okay, let me check on that right now. Normally I turn ads off, and I kinda can manually insert ads where I want. Let me see if they're on for some reason. Monetization, here we go. Oh yeah, they are on. They're on conservative, but they are on. Sorry about that, guys. Let me change it back to insert mid-roll ads manually. I think it's because I started a new stream instead of reusing the settings of an old stream. So yeah, they should be off right now. I might do a little ad break in a couple of minutes just to grab some water. But yeah, they should be off now. A friendly faces, Mindy must have been on cycle. Yeah, indeed. Mindaugas looked good. I don't know about if he's cycling or not, but he definitely looks strong and really good. Jacobin says MMT 2.0 on the road back to Lavon. It must be MMT 10.0 by now, right? I hope so, man. I'd love to see the match happen. It's one of those matches that was promised to us years ago, but never got to fruition. Of course, because Devin ended up beating Lavon and getting his chance. But I hope Michael Toth is able to rise to Lavon again. I hope so. Devin's forearm says Devin at 230 was able to beat a super heavy gummy bear. Lost around on push fouls. I'm okay with it. Yeah, I don't know, man. It looked on the edge of like push fouls. I could definitely see if a ref would judge it as a push foul, I could definitely see that call being legit. I wouldn't say like that's an outrageous call. But then the fact that they didn't see it as that makes me think, okay, maybe it wasn't for them from their perspective. Chuck says, yep, Georgie is good. It was just health problems. We didn't have too much information about right hand of Alex, and we still don't have too much. That's true. Facts. Florin Monk says, I think having the commentary coming through the loudspeakers was a good call. Travis did an excellent job at hyping the crowd. Yeah, good point. Florin Monk. Really good point. I think they're, maybe it's a small thing, but like the intro music, how do I say this? Like the intro music transitions from music to silence was really good too. They were gradual transitions instead of just an abrupt cut. And small things like that really add up throughout an event, I think. So yeah, they're definitely learning and doing better. I agree. I've missed a lot of chat. I'm going to skip over a few messages, so if I missed your message, hit me up again, and I'll get to it eventually. I'm sorry, guys, but I have to get to the end of chat somehow, right? Jacobin says there are timeless videos, though, should have long shelf life. Yeah, that's true. That's what I aim for anyways, to kind of make timeless content in that way. The Devon video went from like 10 or 20k views to 200k views after it's been online for, I would say 6 or 7 months. So yeah, might be the case for the Engin video. Hey Chuck, thanks. Thanks for the words of encouragement, guys. I appreciate it. As long as it's fun to make videos, I'll keep making them. Does fun sometimes have to do with views and how many people get to watch it? Yes, sometimes it does. But then again, sometimes I just have an idea for a video and I want to make it, and it's fun for me regardless of views. So I'll definitely won't stop uploading anytime soon, I think. Edwin Lindbergh says, no, I mean like no codes or such that came up. There has been some before. Yeah, maybe I'm lost on what you're saying there, Edwin. Maybe because I'm lagging so much behind, but there you go. Troy says, dude, your videos are great. Please keep it up. Thanks for that. MMT was amazing. I agree, for sure. I think it's dope that MMT bodied him. Good for him, says Atlantis. True. I hope Michael keeps on keeping on. Troy says Michael thought short speech to Ray after his match was a very passionate, solid match. Honestly, I enjoyed it. It is very American, his speech after the match. It struck me as very American, but that makes sense, right? Since they were in America and Michael Todd is American. Thomas is kind of disappointed that Michael is now pulling in the super heavyweights after Devon had left. Yeah, I get you. It's not the path that I necessarily would have chosen for Michael Todd to jump back into the super heavyweights, but if he feels comfortable there, yeah, more power to him. He is looking pretty damn good now, Atlantis, that's true. Yeah, Muscle Bike, I agree. Love to have seen that. But who knows, maybe we'll get to see Godzilla versus Devon sometime soon, right? Wouldn't that be exciting? Edwin Lindbergh, to be fair, Michael got one pin, the rest was won by fouls, and with normal WAF IFA rules, I think Emil would have gotten some rounds on slips in losing position. Possibly. I thought it looked pretty dominant from where I was sitting, but yeah, I guess it depends on what the ideal rule set was for you, right? Okay, Tomer, have good dinner. What are you having? A lot of chat messages here. Sorry if I don't get to your messages, guys. Todd versus Irakli needs to happen, says Robbie. Yeah, I'd love to see it, but it already happened, right? Didn't Todd beat Irakli not too long ago? Maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering. Hey, Adib says, I'm civil. Good to hear, Adib. Then you're more than welcome to join us. As long as you keep it civil, a lot of things go in chat. I've never once banned a person in chat. I can't speak for my moderators, but I don't think they have. But I've never once banned a person or even deleted a message, despite some people maybe deserving it a little. So yeah, you're free to say whatever you want as long as you're civilized about it. It's all good. Chuck says, because I'm still not convinced about any evolution in Irakli, at least from time of his John Brezink match. Yeah, a lot of people are, right? A lot of people are saying he's super strong right now. I don't know. Jacobin says, sorry about trying to get some compensation for my work. They are annoying, but kind of understandable. Yeah, I get you, Jacobin. I don't turn off ads on my videos. because I put like a huge amount of work into my videos. Even though I enjoy it, it's fun to have a little money at least. I'm not getting rich of them anytime soon, but yeah, it's fun to have a little money for that, just because of the hours I put in. Otherwise, I can't really convince myself to work on any anymore. But for the live streams, I think in general people have been really generous in live streams. I think it kind of interrupts the viewer experience more so than in videos. So yeah, I don't think it's really necessary to have them at live streams. Vitali says, push foul is a joke. One thing that I will say about the whole Chan Shaw, Devon Larratt push foul thing, right? Devon was harping a lot on Chan's making those push fouls, but it's a little ironic to me when Devon's always the one saying an athlete should be able to choose where they set the limit and what they do on the table, as long as they stay on the pad, right? So yeah, it's a little ironic to me that Devon was moaning about it that much, but on the other hand, I understand. Like, if you're of the opinion that Chance actually willfully pushed Devon off the pad, that's blatantly against the rules, right? Yeah, Edwin says first was a push foul, but the second foul in the first round was not a push. Yeah, I kind of remember something similar where I thought, yeah, the first one looked kind of egregious to a degree. I could see people calling that as a push foul, but the second one, not so much. Yeah, Vitaly says you're responsible for your own elbow. There you go. Kind of having Devon's mentality for that, right? Musclebike says, who forgot to hit like? Thank you for reminding the people, Musclebike. White Wolf, how you doing? Says, who the hell is this? And how did Arm Historian get my number? Don't you remember, White Wolf? That one steamy night we had together. You gave me your number. Or I gave you mine, I can't even remember. Pronator Tendon says, Troy, I felt fortunate to hear from all that history at one time. Interesting, Pronator, welcome to the live stream. Atlantis says, I have a new theory. Devon is quietly pumpkin training his left while making his right arm the party arm like he used to with his left. Right is noticeably smaller, which is strange. Yeah, and Devon is having a lot of talk about left-handed matches, right? I believe at this event he called out Travis Bagent on the left. Love to see it. Let's jump to the Travis Bagent match. Talking about Travis Bagent here. Yeah, Travis Bagent versus Corey West on the left arm. A lot of people were expecting, compared to Travis's right arm match, Travis to kind of make up for that match and showing that his left is still at the top of the pack. But it seems like, yeah, he kind of underestimated the pack. And Corey West dominated the match, as far as I could tell. He didn't really seem to have any issues at any point. Stayed really calm throughout. I think Corey did a really good job. He said he lost weight too, and I think you could tell. By the way, yeah, he just looked like he was still in the match, even though several rounds had happened. Jay says all this off-cycle talk is annoying. Yeah, I can see that. I personally don't mind too much, but yeah. There is a lot of off-cycle talk. Troy says intentional slip in a losing position is a loss. A clean slip in a losing position means nothing. Yeah. Certainly some leagues employ those rule sets. DOS Move says having Bart Wood there was also another good touch. Yeah, I love that. Love that. It's like, I don't know, the entire Devon Chance match with Bart Wood reffing brought back a lot of memories for a lot of people, I'm sure, of the WAL days. Yes, indeed, Jacobin, we do have a good mod team in the chat right now. Also, people that I got to know in real life, so that helped to be able to trust them. White Wolf says, let's just say I saw some East versus West matches. A couple matches were awesome. I agree, White Wolf. You don't have to admit this, but you kind of are admitting this publicly. But yeah, I agree. A lot of the matches were awesome, I thought. It was a good event in general. Pronator Tendon says, man, imagine being Michael Todd and having his comeback be real and not just delusion. I'm happy for him. Yeah, I'm happy too. I think a lot of people are. It's funny because right after the match happened, I got a couple of comments on my Michael Todd video saying, oh well, this video aged well, or don't you regret making this video now? And I think I end that video with saying, I really hope Michael Todd gets on top again. So yeah, I don't know. I think people just read the title, The Rise and Fall of Michael Todd, and assume that I'm like laying into the guy hardcore, but I don't think that's the case at all. But I can't really blame them, right? Haju Dubois says, I did ban one guy who said racist stuff. Thank you for using your membership message, Ju Dubois. Remember, members, I think, have one message a month or something that they can use, send for free, one super chat message. So I'll definitely make use of that if you want to. And thank you for doing that, Ju Dubois, of course. If someone is being racist, that isn't acting civil to me, so yeah, I don't blame you. But it's interesting, I didn't know you banned someone. But no worries there. White Wolf says, drinking Canuck beer and living the Canadian dream, waiting for Beer Man to call me. Awesome, White Wolf. Are you up there with those guys? NLV says you deserve the money for sure. Thank you, NLV. Like I said, I'm not getting rich off making the videos. It's fun to have a little pocket change in return for all the hours I put in, but it helps to keep me motivated, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it. You the man, arm historian. Thank you, Jacobian. So are you. Thank you for being here once again with us. Almost never missing a live stream. Love this community. Said it many times before. We'll keep saying it. I love this little corner of arm wrestling that we've carved out for ourselves. Pronator Tendon says, what's with people calling the female pullers men? I know, Pronator Tendon. I don't like it, but I've kind of learned my lesson on speaking out about those things. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'll say on it. Vitaly says, why is pushing someone a foul? Push me all you want. Yeah, I think a lot of people look at it that way. Okay, guys, I'm skipping over a few messages here. White Wolf remembers our steamy night. That's good. Chuck says, but kinda expected that Kalina showed that Travis has problems with strong wrist and Gorilla has one. Yeah, I heard Corey West's hand and wrist is really good. Devon's next match is Lefty against Leonidas. Interesting. Then Petrenko in November, I think. Okay. So he has his work cut out for him, obviously. I think Leonidas' left and right are about the same level, right? I think. He said something like that. Vitali says YouTube commenter versus developmentally delayed Redditor. Talking about a match people are setting up, I think. In the chat. Atlantis says, I think it makes quite a bit of sense. The US athletes got to stay home and not come off their drugs. They dominated. Interesting. How much do you think that plays into it? For real. Like, do you think that's actually a big part of the equation? I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just interested to know if you really think that's like the main reason why the West did better this time. Yeah, true, Atlantis, steroids are very much a reality. Hey, Russell Bike, thank you for using your member message. 16 months, that's crazy, man. This is beer, bikes, and arm wrestling. Big up the arm historian, big up yourself, Muscle Bike. You know I love you, man. Of course I do, how can you not? These guys were really great when I went over to Ireland for Arm Gods. Made me feel really welcome into the community, so yeah, love those guys. David Tome says, unlikely, but let me know if they do to Muscle Bike. If they will send Sparkle Puff to the UK. What the hell is Sparkle Puff? White Wolf says, everyone loves Arm Historian because he allows your point of view, even if he doesn't necessarily agree. True champion of arm wrestling world. I don't know about the everyone loves me part. I know plenty of people within the community that don't love me at all. But I appreciate you saying that, White Wolf, and I do think it's important to allow different points of view, right? Even like you said, if you don't necessarily agree. I think it's way more interesting to actually try to talk to people about their points of views and try to see through their eyes instead of just mindlessly defending the point of view that you already have. So yeah, we're not about that censorship here. You can say pretty much anything as long as you keep it civil. Hey, Sam Mon says, yo, what's up, guys? I'm new here. Welcome, Sam Mon. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I go live every Sunday, in case you don't know. Or I try to go live every Sunday. I usually do. Talk about everything that's current in arm wrestling, as well as sometimes some historical stuff. Also, of course, the all-time Prime Fantasy League, which I will be doing sometime soon again, I'm sure. I should do some more interviews too. A lot of athletes in the arm wrestling world are very generous with their time. And I think I could get some good people on the chat. Not only on chat, but on the live stream. So yeah, I should do some more interviews. Yeah, Atlantis says, I think it has to do with it at least. Guys got to be a lot closer to home and in their element. It does make sense, Atlantis. Yeah, I hope they keep doing it in the US, all over the world if they can. And I'd love to see how some different events look at different parts of the world, like imagine an event in Japan or other parts of Asia. Would love to see it. Jacobin says Hunter Noss continues to roll. Okay guys, I'm gonna try to insert an ad, use the YouTube ad insertion. Don't leave the live stream, please. I'm gonna try this feature out. I think I have once before and I don't know if it actually worked. But while I'm grabbing a drink of water, I'm gonna be inserting an ad, so yeah, here we go. Okay, I'm back already. Did it work? Did you guys actually see an ad, or did nothing happen and you just heard some music the entire time? I'm very interested to see if this function actually works, because if it does, I think that's a good way to do it, right? If I need to go pee or like get some water or something, then I can just use that as kind of a, yeah, an ad insert, right? Because I'm not saying anything, so it isn't really interrupting the stream. Pagwaji says MMT most based arm wrestler 100%. Yeah, you could say that, sure. I love MMT. A lot of people seem to think I don't, but I really do. Jacobin says, you are good at the interviews. Thank you, Jacobin. I don't know if I really would say I'm good at them, but I like talking to arm wrestlers, so yeah, thanks for saying that. Atlantis says, Arm Historian didn't want to talk about it, but Engin didn't care for his video. He didn't worship him enough. How poor little Engi. Largest egos are easily damaged. Baseless rumors, Atlantis. Yeah. If you want to know more, hit me up in PMs, but I think Engin showed me the courtesy of sharing his opinion privately, so I don't think it's up to me to share anything publicly. I would have loved it if he had shared the video. I know a lot of the people that I make videos on actually like them and share them. But yeah, I would have loved it if Engin did the same, but it's not my call, right? All I can do is try to do the best job I can, put it out there, and yeah, that's it. The rest is up to the people themselves, not up to me. Not everyone likes the same kind of stuff, right? TOS Move says, can you make it a Gripzilla ad? I wish that I could, TOS Move. Maybe if Gripzilla sponsored me, wink wink, or any kind of arm wrestling related corporation decides to sponsor me, I would love to make some creative ad for them to feature on my channel, but yeah. Hasn't been the case so far. I got reached out by one company so far, and I think they wanted me to promote a treadmill of some kind. So yeah, not really relevant, I think. Okay, no worries. I see Adblock, Premium. Yeah, that's all fine. No worries. Did you know Joom is a name? I did not. Interesting. Devin's Forum says the ad worked. Awesome. KL says I had an ad. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for sticking in the stream. Vitali Lil Layton says that's what the ad taught me. Interesting, okay. So I see you're getting good information from Arm Historian ads. Michael Todd was glad to see him win yesterday, but will likely get delusional against his White Wolf. Time will tell, my friend. We'll see. I hope he keeps at it. Not necessarily being delusional, but doing well on the table. Thanks, Atlantis. I'd love to say more, but yeah. Musclebike says, I want to see MMT Ego versus Engin Ego. Okay. Let's not turn this into an Engin stream of any kind. Atlantis says, class act Arm Historian. I need to take some pointers perhaps with my keyboard away when I start feeling froggy. Some things are best left alone. Look, man, I've made some mistakes within the arm wrestling community with being too reactionary. I'll admit to it readily. I remember really early on, one of my videos got striked by Core Sports, and I think I tagged Matt Rhodes in a public message on YouTube. Like, because I was so incensed about them giving my channel strikes while I, barely used any footage. I tagged Matt Rhodes and he contacted me. He wasn't happy about it, which I understand completely. I should have been more patient and I should have put a more thought out message out there and not call out like a guy in particular, you know what I mean? So yeah. Definitely, I'm not always a class act. I make mistakes too. Sometimes I respond to messages, less than positive messages on my videos. If I'm not in good mood or something, or I've gotten like a critical mass of the same kind of message, I might respond more impatiently than I would want to. So yeah, we're all humans, right? Sam Mon says, I think Devon should pull Akimbo 69 next. Really? Interesting. I don't think Akimbo would stand a chance, but sure, why not? I definitely think they should feature akimbo against anyone, not necessarily Devon. Devon's forearm says core sport strikes. Yeah, I know Devon's forearm. You speak from experience. They had a period where they, basically gave everyone strikes. Chuck says, I find that Fresh would be an awesome opponent for Samusha, but this is not this arm. Interesting. Yeah, I think Fresh in general should have more matches, right? Let's pull him up on the big screen and talk about this match for a minute. Because I think they definitely deserve it. Love the match. Was a good match. Paul Talbot definitely not without a chance in the match. But I do believe that Fresh pulled it off, right? At the end of the day. If I remember correctly. Fresh is just, one of those guys that I've been wanting to see on the big stage for a long time. And I'm glad he's finally getting there and getting his chance and proving that, he's actually a good arm wrestler. And Engin knows this, obviously, because Engin has pulled with Fresh at WAF before. I believe more than once. So yeah, Fresh has been around for a long time. And I'm glad he's getting his chance in the spotlight. Tomer says, using footage that is on YouTube in your own videos is allowed by YouTube. Engin can't superimpose his rules onto YouTube. Listen, I hear what you're saying, Tomer, and on the face of it, you're right. But also, it's more complicated than that. And I'm speaking from experience from fighting certain copyright claims and even strikes on my channel. It's way more complicated. Basically, what it comes down to, at least in my case, was at a certain point, if you appealed it and they say, no, this is our footage, you don't have any right to use it, even if you're complying with YouTube's own fair use policy and fair use as it's been outlined before in lawsuits. Even if you comply with all that, you still have to prove fair use, and they can still take you to court if they want to. So yeah, in order to actually fight one of the strikes, you'd have to give up your personal information and basically open yourself up to a lawsuit, which I wasn't about to do. So yeah, on the face of it, you're right, but it's more complicated than that, unfortunately. Atlantis says, I tend to focus on the deterioration of the US society, but I guess it's happening everywhere, just at different states of progression kind of blows. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. I think it's easier to think of society deteriorating because the things you're exposed to as far as media and stuff online lately has been way more divisive than ever, I think, and way more focused on the outer ends of the bell curve, so to speak. I think in general society is moving in a positive direction. In general, I think the world, as far as like human rights and like average lifespan, less diseases, stuff like that, I think we're doing better than we were in general 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and so on. Of course, there's fluctuations and ups and downs. You see that throughout history. You recognize those patterns throughout history. But in general, I think we're moving in the right direction. It's very easy to make it look like we aren't. That's just my opinion, of course. Yeah, Devon's Forum says 87% of YouTube is videos with recycled footage used in fair use manner is perfectly fine. I agree with you there, Devon's Forum. Yeah, like you know, more difficult, more complicated than just that, unfortunately. Watseki Madarnavan says Devon wins against Oleg Petrenko 4-0 or 4-1. I don't know about that. Don't underestimate Petrenko. Devon's Forum says Moist, Charlie and Asmongold channels are almost completely ripped footage just in review format. Yep. Reaction content on YouTube is everywhere. And people like Penguin Zero and Asmongold, like you mentioned, definitely get away with it because they are large creators and would be able to afford being sued. So probably most people won't sue them. But yeah, there you go. I think that's the reason, Devon's Forearm, and I think you know that, of course. Atlantis says Akimbo doesn't know how to arm wrestle. Is he just super strong? I think he does know how to arm wrestle. He's been arm wrestling since he was quite young. It's like video footage of that. Yeah, indeed, Vitali. Vitali says he felt so bad for Paul Talbot. He took it on the chin and was super impressed with Fresh. Yeah, Fresh, man. Don't underestimate him. People in the know have been saying this for a long time. The guy is a legitimate giant slayer and has been for quite a while. For sure. Yeah. Vitali says he's trolling. Akimbo just has a ton of potential and hasn't unlocked his ability yet. He's very talented and strong. I agree. I made an entire video on him. And I agree. Yeah, anyone who can do one-arm pull-ups has my respect, including Akimbo, says Muscle Bike. Makes a lot of sense to me. Tomer says, so basically Core Sports is being a big bully and using its high money and high value to justify wrong things. Well, I'm sure that in their eyes it isn't wrong, right? It's just... I don't know if it's... You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think I'm saying anything wrong with this or anything necessarily controversial, but one of the main things that needs to happen for content creation as far as arm wrestling goes right now, especially with these big events like King of the Table and East vs West, is they should have an open and clear free fair use policy. They don't necessarily have to align completely with YouTube's own fair use policy, although I think that would be the smart thing to do and the right thing to do, but they should at least have a policy of their own, right? A very clear policy. Like, I know they kind of, East vs West has been kind of doing that, Engin has been kind of doing that, but restricting it with certain conditions, personally I don't see the point. I'm happy to comply with them because if he feels that's the best way to grow the sport, and if that allows me to use more footage to make my videos better at the end of the day, I'm happy to comply and work with him. But I do think that in the long term we should phase that out. I don't think there should be any conditions related to your fair use policy. I think that should be the end goal, to get rid of the conditions even. Like, I think every channel helps the sport grow in its own way. And I think if the sport grows, then East vs West and other organizations such as East vs West will only stand to benefit from that growth. So yeah, I think at the end of the day that should be the target, right? To move to a very clear fair use policy without any conditions attached to it. Because for the people that don't know right now, Engin has done a good thing, I think, in a step in the right direction with allowing people to use certain East vs West footage to a degree. If you post a video for every East vs West event and comply with a couple other things. So I definitely think that's a step in the right direction, but at the end of the day I think the end goal should be just have a clear fair use policy, like you can use footage, please don't use it until a week has passed or however long. But if you're using it complying to YouTube's fair use policy, then it's good for us, and every channel can do this. That just seems to me, maybe I'm very biased, probably I am as a content creator, but to me that seems at the end of the day like the best policy to take, right? I think if people would want to use some of my videos, of course they're allowed to. Of course, if you're going to repost the whole thing, that doesn't make sense. If you're going to repost an entire match of East versus West, yeah, of course, I would strike that too. If someone just blatantly reposted my entire video, I would do that too. But if someone's complying with YouTube's fair use policy, then sure, why not? It's the platform you're using at the end of the day, so. Jacobin says, what do you think about 98% arm wrestling having topless guests in lingerie on their podcast? Some people feel it's not right. Did that actually happen? Although, topless guests in lingerie, that's a little contradictory, right? Were they wearing like a bra or were they completely topless? Because topless to me implies completely bare. Atlantis says, that's a good point. I need to stop focusing on negative shit. I stopped watching the news years ago, luckily, but you're right, the propaganda is everywhere. Yeah, I know, and I'm far from perfect at it myself. I get swept up in it plenty of times, and it has a real effect on your like mental stability at times. At least for me it does, so yeah, I hear you. Jacobin says, Pod got out of control, Grandin had to put a stop to it. No, I haven't seen this yet. Funny. Vitaly says it's his own fault for having the idiots he has on there. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I'd get invited to these live streams some more, because I don't know if it's just that people don't really see any value in having me on, or maybe they think I would refuse, I don't know. But I'd love to be on some more of those live streams, just yeah, joining in there. I wouldn't mind. Atlantis says, we have nowhere to hang out now besides here once a week. I do appreciate you guys being here, of course. You're always welcome. I'll be here once a week for the foreseeable future. But I hope, yeah, you get some more homes. In the meanwhile, I always miss the Arm God stream for some reason, says Atlantis. Yeah, same for me. There's like some streams that are at really inopportune times for me. Devil's Forearm says, yes, clear policy and make it available everywhere. Core Sports website for starters, yeah. I was in contact with like what I think is Core Sports social media guy, or like their mail correspondence guy or something like that. And I asked him that question point blank and he just ignored me. We were having kind of a conversation back and forth, and then I asked him, like, what is Core Sports' own policy on fair use and what we can use and what we can't, and he just stopped replying. So yeah, I don't know. Atlantis says, see, I'm usually out driving around working at that time. Yeah, same for me often. Hey Ben 600, how you doing? Good to have you here. You're coming in at the latter end of the stream, but still happy to have you. My voice is a bit gone, as you guys might hear. Sorry for that. Jacobin says, yes, not sure what is Engin and what is Core Sports, but they are aggressive to a degree. Chuck says, are we getting to Boob Sunday? It's a curse now. Yeah, really interesting. I should catch up on the 98% stream, it sounds like. But I'm guessing their stream isn't up yet anymore. I'm guessing they took it down. Devon's Forum says getting the strike and other violations has killed many YouTube creators from even making content or wanting to help. Yeah, I do have to admit that receiving strikes on videos you put a lot of work in and have the best intentions for, especially a strike, right? Because a strike is basically the nuclear option. If your channel gets 3 strikes, your channel gets deleted. You can also do a copyright claim, which is a little more reasonable and can lead to things like revenue sharing and stuff like that. But a strike is basically the nuclear option, so if one of your videos that you put a lot of work in gets a strike, you wake up to a strike on YouTube, you're not happy. I can tell you that. So yeah, I hear you, Devon's Forum, for sure. I myself have received strikes and was like, okay, why am I even doing this? If people don't want my content around, then why am I even making it? Thanks again, Musclebike, for linking my latest video. Tomer says, this is where Boop Historian from last week comes in. Love to have a talk with that guy. I'd love to shake his head. Jacobin says, lol, well, it was on and then it kind of came off near the end. Okay. Fair enough. Interesting. What kind of stream were they doing? Were they like filming from a strip club or something? P says, was that a biological male arm wrestling the female? Let's pull the matchup you're talking about, which I believe is Elizabeth Mocek versus Alexandra Ozorova. Yeah, I do think Elizabeth Mocek is female, as far as I know. I don't know. I think a lot of people... I saw this comment a lot. But I'm taking your question as general, as a genuine question here, P. I don't see any reason to think it's necessarily a guy. Obviously, I'm not saying anything out of pocket here when I say I think it's pretty clear that she's on some kind of PEDs, right? I think if you would transform some of the male pullers, like say Lavan, to a female puller, and gave a female puller the same amount of PEDs as Lavan, you'd have way more exaggerated results than even an Elizabeth Mocek, who it's pretty clear, you can see pretty clearly that she's on some kind of... That's my opinion. I'm talking my opinion here, right? It's not like proven or anything, but I think it's just a case of substance abuse. It's my take. I don't think she's a man, or I don't think the fact that she has taken a lot of substances that increases potentially her test levels makes her a man. But yeah, I think that's what it basically boils down to, right? In my opinion. White Wolf says, unfortunately, ARM Historian, not all promotions feel the same way, including East versus West. They ban other promotions and those who post anything that they disagree with. Yeah, I can see some promotions having those grievances. I talk to a lot of people that have those grievances in private. All I will say on it is, it's hard to speak out on it clearly and fully without shooting yourself in the foot, if you know what I mean. It doesn't make it right. The Claymore says, hello James Stewart, how you doing, man? Good to see you, good to have you. Commonwealth champ in the house, indeed, Musclebike. Vitali says, I think you're trying to say it'll be easy, they are intimidated by you, ARM Historian, or something. Or, oh no, it's because they are intimidated by you, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's it, Vitali. I'm sure, Core Sports is intimidated by me. White Wolf says, everyone always welcome over on Arm Gods. Even Engin, join us. We have cookies. I was certainly welcomed there. Atlantis says, bro, if Engin showed up, that'd be crazy. Yeah, I have no beef with Engin. I've talked with Engin personally a couple of times now. All good. Gian, how you doing? Good to see you. Been lurking a while. Well, thank you for making the leap from relative obscurity to being open to public mocking here. No, welcome, Gian. I'm sure you won't get mocked in chat. Good to have you join us. Musclebike says, I get Engin pissed at Arm Gods and see how angry he gets. You can try. Don't think it would be that difficult. Andrei Volkov says, stream with Engin, obviously with some type of scenario for a stream could be interesting. I'd love to have Engin on. He's always welcome on stream. Like I said earlier, I'd love to have more people on, and I need to get off my ass basically and talk to more arm wrestlers about joining the stream. I know a lot of great people in the arm wrestling community have given their time to me and have been on my stream, and I've always enjoyed it greatly, and I think you guys did too. So yeah, definitely I need to get on that. Who would you guys love to see apart from Engin? Who would you like to see on? Okay, White Wolf, I will, thank you. I can always use strip club footage, so you can just, as a general rule, send that to me. Tomer says, I've had a couple strikes on my channel, but it was for offensive jokes about gypsies. But they moved on, okay. I see what you did there, Tomer. Tomer. Yeah, that is good, man. You had me there. Levan stack, they die, yeah, possibly. Gian says she's on the heaviest stack of the park, yeah. Jacobin says she's a good puller, beautiful woman, there you go. Only Levan's gene can handle that in rare specimens. Andre says Levan is on a kitchen sink, yeah. Even if someone survived, they wouldn't mutate like him necessarily, says Atlantis. True. Very true. I'll just skip that message, White Wolf, but I do appreciate you. I understand completely. Atlantis says, who won this women's match? Did Elizabeth get a win? Yes, indeed. She dominated Alexandra. From where I was sitting, it looked quite one-sided. Just too powerful, right? She worked a lot on the setup, so I don't know if she was that confident, necessarily. Or maybe she was just really eager to get a win. But yeah, she did really well and was just too strong, as far as I could tell. Hey, Dan John says, late, no worries. You're coming in at the end of the stream here, but of course, still welcome to join us. Talking about end of the stream, let me quickly check if Neil is going live with the fix. And in the meanwhile, guys, if you want to ask me any questions, now is the time. Or anything about the event, if you want to talk about anything relating to the event, go right ahead and tell me. And I'll get on that before we end the stream. It's been a pretty long day for me, a really fun day, but a long day. Doesn't look like Neil Pickup will be going live, as far as I can tell, so we can go over time. But like I said, yeah, I'm kind of on the end here of my energy levels. But I enjoy this so much that, yeah, it's hard for me to stop. Atlantis says, oh damn, is that chick Alex Stoproll's girlfriend? Yeah, she is, or his wife, not quite sure, but yes. Yes, it's funny because there are 3 Alexanders, right? Like Alexandra, Alexander, and Alex. What a coincidence. Atlantis says, what were you up to today, Arm Historian? The girlfriend and myself, a lady Arm, Went down to a market pretty early today, like a how do I explain this? Like a market full of food stalls in the city near us, the big city near us. So yeah, we strolled around in the heat, got some food there and stuff, and yeah, made it a day out of it. White Wolf says, Arm Historian go another 5 hours. It's funny that you mentioned that, White Wolf. I for sure won't tonight. But I might have something crazy planned during the last week of August. I'm not 100% yet if I'm going to be able to do it, as I might have other obligations, but if I can, I will. And I think it's going to be quite crazy. Gian says, have you commented Craig Tullier calling out Samusha? I have not, but indeed, Craig Tullier, after his match with Tom Holland, the wonderful Tom Holland, which I have also seen in real life. I've met in real life very briefly, but I did. Craig Tullier won over Tom Holland during East vs West yesterday, and then after the match, Craig Tullier called out David Samusha, basically the king of that class, right? And has been for a while now. Yeah, I'd love to see the match. I think any match with David Samusha is usually a good match, so I'd love to see it. Dan John says, Arm Historian, have you had RVJ on? No, I have not, but I did meet RVJ and pulled a little with him even. And I did talk to him indirectly afterwards through some other streams. Him and I are friendly with each other, so I wouldn't mind having him on. Yeah, maybe I should ask. But I need a good talking point, right? Maybe I'll just talk about steroids. I think he could talk about them endlessly, so I'll send him a case of beer and then I'll have him on. White Wolf coming in with a way too generous super chat. Simply saying, Aru! Aru, back to you, White Wolf. Yeah, White Wolf, one of those people whose generosity keeps amazing me. I thank you, White Wolf. You're a great guy. You don't need to do this. You know you don't need to do this. I've told you many times before, don't do this. Like, I appreciate it a lot. It means a lot to me. But there's no need. I'll never ask for super chats. But I do appreciate it, White Wolf, of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Andrei Volkov says, maybe taking guys who will compete at top-tier venues soon and aren't popular is a good idea. Since there's not that much info about those guys, not many people knew Vresh, and many don't know Tariev. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is a good idea. Yeah, the problem with some of the guys is that they don't speak English that well. So yeah, it does make it more difficult. White Wolf, still crazy. White Wolf, why don't you make content? Haven't you ever thought about making content yourself? I know you filmed some stuff, and maybe put some stuff out there, but like not really structured or a lot, right? If I'm not mistaken. Have you ever thought about it? I think you could do quite well. Yeah, problems with language translation, as you say, Andre, indeed. RVJ is a guy, yeah, as a guy, indeed. I'd love to have RVJ on. Any other person is welcome. I've had Paul Lin on, I've had Ryan Bowen on, Aussie Arm Wrestler. I've had a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people on. Eric Roussin, of course. Who am I forgetting? Reno Message. Met Reno in real life too, really great guy as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh no, I'm forgetting about, why am I blanking on his name? That's so bad. Australian co-organizer of AWE. Damn. For some reason I'm blanking on his name and I spent so much time talking to the guy in real life too. Stupid. Haven't seen RVJ in a while, says Jacobin. Yeah, after the whole Ryan Bowen RVJ podcast stuff. It's too bad. I'll bring you guys in on a little secret here. A little behind the scene look. It's not really a secret, I guess, because it's not really drama or something, but when Ryan Bowen and RVJ were making their podcast together, Ryan Bowen asked me if I would be up for editing for them and for the podcast. Like every week I'd be editing videos for them, several shorts, maybe some long form stuff. Like basically working for them, making videos for their podcast. And I said, yeah, sure, we can give that a try. But then their podcast just stopped happening, so yeah, there you go. Little behind the scenes look. I still do that kind of thing for people, but if it's ongoing, I won't talk about it, you know what I mean? Like, not unless those people themselves want to say it, but yeah. I did do a couple of them for him. Tomer says, I know it sounds crazy, but I don't want arm wrestling to get too big like football. Right now you can pull legends, but when's the last time a football fan played with Ronaldo and Messi? Yeah, I hear you on that to a degree. Yeah, it's hard for me to root against arm wrestling growing, but yeah, I know what you mean. All I can say is try to make the most of it while it's happening. I don't know if it'll ever happen, that arm wrestling grows to such a degree, but so far it hasn't happened, so try to enjoy it while it hasn't, I guess. Definitely steroids with RVJ, yeah. Those who cry the loudest, RVJ. This is Devin's forearm. We're in kind of a golden age of fan interaction, says Jacobin. Definitely true. There's a lot of arm wrestlers that I've messaged that are very responsive. I remember messaging Alex Kurdecha. This is some time ago, but just to give you an idea of the guy, I sent him a message about I was doing research on something WAF related, and he actually called me, like, laying on his bed. Like, I've never talked to him before. I think I had my channel for a couple of months, like 4 or 5 months, and he just called me and we had like an hour-long conversation or something like that. Maybe a little shorter, not a lot shorter. Had a long conversation about WAF and everything. So yeah, definitely a lot of arm wrestlers are really into fan interaction and are really available to fans, really generous with their time. So yeah, that is definitely something that is still very much present in the sport, and I don't think will stop anytime soon, unless, like you said, like arm wrestling gets super big all of a sudden. Which, you know, could happen, but yeah. I don't think it'll be anytime soon. Why did the music stop here? Okay, I see why. Okay. Let's see here. RVJ and Beerman quit YouTube same time. Maybe they're making a baby. Who knows? That'll be quite the baby. That's the stuff of nightmares right there, Musclebike. Atlantis says MMT streams are actually pretty decent too, usually. Yep. MMT has ramped up the quality of his content for sure. I think he's doing a good job, obviously. As I think it's his main source of income right now, right? So, yeah. Really accessible stars in real life, says Jacobin. Yeah, true. And like I said, I don't think I've had a lot of negative interactions with arm wrestlers. I'm trying to think of, like, quote-unquote famous arm wrestlers that I've met. that have been anything less than kind to me, and I can't think of any. White Wolf says, Arm Historian, I actually have a job and responsibilities that pay me very well. Can't dabble in this nonsense. I get you, White Wolf. Yeah, we have our own lives and jobs apart from this, but still, the fact that you... yeah, the fact that you're parting with some of your well-earned money to support something like this that I'm doing, it means a lot to me. Regardless of if you have a very well-paying job or not, it means a lot. $20 is a lot, like in general. It's just a lot of money to just hand someone. Although YouTube does take a good cut of that, but it is a very generous amount. And yeah, I appreciate it regardless of what kind of job you have, of course. But yeah, I'm happy to hear you have a good job and it's paying you well, because I wouldn't want anyone to donate any money or give me any money if they don't have a lot of money themselves or enough money themselves. That doesn't sound like a responsible thing. So in general, you won't hear me asking for money on here or anything like that, of course. Wolf is a legend, says Dan John. Indeed he is. Found it out myself. Atlantis says, Beerman quit YouTube also. He hosted last week, I thought. I kid you not, I thought, where has Beerman been? And he went live that night. Maybe you're like telepathically gifted or something, Atlantis. Have you ever thought of that? There's a lot of strange stuff associated with Atlantis, right? The lost city of Atlantis, so maybe... You never know. Add 1 and 1 together. Beerman has not been live for 3 months, says Muscle Bike. Maybe Atlantis dreamed it, or maybe it was I don't know. Maybe it was a premonition of some kind. Maybe we should call Atlantis the Oracle from now on. It would have been cool, Arm Historian. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I appreciate it, Jacobin. It probably would have been cool. Atlantis says, you know what I felt kind of stupid about? I just now found out from Pradeep how to actually say Jablonski and Kurdeka. Yeah, it's Jablonski and Kurdeka, right? Or something like that. Just a translation difference, or we are actually saying it wrong. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. A lot of the people, I'm probably butchering their names in their native tongue. Yeah. It's funny because when I went over to Armgods, and several people in chat here will be able to attest to it. When I went over to Armgods, I brought a training partner and a dear friend of mine along with me. And yeah, his name was very hard for people there to pronounce the way we do. So yeah, there's definitely some of that going on. Muscle Bike coming in with the £5 super chat, saying Jake's super chat Arm Historian. Well, I do appreciate I'm getting Aussie's runoffs here. Thank you for being so generous, Muscle Bike, and for being such a supporter of what I do. Yeah. People like you and anyone who's in chat right now, or anyone who's ever watched my videos or liked my videos or interacted with me in any way, you're like the reason why I'm still here and doing this. I think if I didn't have this kind of community, and I'm not just talking like from a financial point of view, super chats or anything, but just in general, if I didn't have a community like you guys here, I would have been gone a long time ago. That's just a fact. Just a fact. Atlantis coming in with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Atlantis. Atlantis, already a member, is in chat almost every week. You're already doing more than enough, Atlantis. Of course, I do appreciate it, but yeah, thank you. Says, the one time I super chatted Aussie, he basically insulted my message and offered to refund it. That doesn't sound good. Spill the tea on that one. I get along fine with Aussie, I'll say that much. I like the guy. I talked to him behind the scenes. I talked to him in real life. Of course, any beef you guys have with Ozzy, that's yours to have. I'm not making any value judgments on you guys because of beef that you have with him. Might be beef that is justified. I don't know. I just stay out of that shit as much as possible. Jane says Beer Man is living in Atlantis as a mer beer man. Yep. Beer Man has evolved. Now living underwater. The mer beer man. Love that. Chuck says we won't let you leave. I have some chains to keep you in here. Yeah, you guys are kind of keeping me here. Which is fine, of course. I don't mind, I'm having fun. Edwin says, I have talked with Camille and his daughter. If I remember correct, you don't pronounce the L. And it's more like Jabonski. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, right? Like in the Polish way of pronouncing stuff. I could see that. Jabionski or Jabionski. I think it would be Jabionski, right? Yeah, whatever. But that does make sense, somewhat. Jesus, all the behind the scenes political beef going on between different arm wrestlers and fans, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll happen to me too. Maybe I'll fall into the same trap. I already have a couple of haters, but yeah, I hope that never happens to the people that are in here presently. Okay, there's a very lively discussion going on about how to pronounce Camille's name. Let's see if we've skipped any major matches, right, that we should talk about. I think we talked about these matches. We talked about Travis, right, and Corey West, albeit briefly. Very sad for Travis that he couldn't get the win here, but yeah. I think Corey is just really strong and Travis is kind of, I don't know. Maybe he'll face Devon on the left soon. That'll be fun. Talked about this one, Dave Chafee versus Frank Lamparelli. Yeah, this match wasn't really a surprise to a lot of people. I think it kind of turned out like a lot of people thought it would. So did I, by the way. I did think Dave Chafee would take the win. It would have surprised me if Frank Lamparelli would have taken it, but yeah. I think Frank is a very good arm wrestler. Dave is just too strong, right? It's not even about experience in this match. Because I do think Frank is definitely technically very proficient. And he's experienced in his own right. But Dave, easy money Chafee, just too strong. And Justin B coming in with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Justin B. Says, how about table in middle of room? Like boxing. What do you mean, Justin B? Like table where in the middle of the room, like boxing? Like, okay, yeah, like a boxing ring. Yeah, interesting. I'd like that. I'm thinking if certain arm wrestling leagues did that. I know Arm Gods did that, because I was there. So yeah, certain leagues are doing that, but yeah, I'd love to see that on the scale of East versus West. For sure. That's a good suggestion there. Why is my chat not working? Very weird. Okay, it is working, but it just disappears after a while. That makes sense, okay. Muscle Bike says, you will never fall into the snake pit. Arm historian Jake lives there when he jumps off his fence. Okay. To be fair, I'm quite a fence sitter on some topics too. Or I guess I just won't cover some topics at all because I know there's just lava on either side of the fence, so I'm just, I don't know, taking my helicopter out of here. Not even sitting on the fence, but just looking from afar. Maybe commenting or yelling something to the fence from afar. Some topics I just think, yeah, aren't worth even addressing because, yeah, I don't know. Not productive. Tomer says, I'm pretty sure that Polish has an L with a line through it and it's pronounced W, so it's actually Zwadi tour, not slutty. Interesting. Very interesting. I should know these things to a degree, but I don't. Chuck says, I just undisguised my nationality. Chuck, are you Polish? Get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, we welcome people from everywhere. Apart from the Dutch. If there's any Dutch in here, they need to leave right now. Devin's Forearm says, Beerman did pull in Women's League, then Devin joined it too, and Evan pulled a muscle. True story. Is that a true story? I do remember Gary Roberts pulling a woman, right? Jablonski put the J is just slightly pronounced, if you understand how I mean. Don't have the best English. That's okay, Edwin. I think I get you, but if I don't, that's fine. Swati, like wonder. Interesting. Swati. Something like that. Frank looked amazing in the last round, and I would have liked to see that continue, says Edwin Lindbergh. Yeah, true. True. Justin B says, like UFC. Yeah, indeed. I think it's a very good suggestion there, Justin B. And for sure, East vs. West should try that out. I think it's also about finding the right venue, right? If the venue lends itself to that, all the better. But some venues, of course, obviously, it won't look as good, right, if you do that. AWE did that in a cage, yeah, true, and I think that looked pretty good too. I like that look a lot. Yeah, imagine a big crowd in the States set up like that, says Justin B. Indeed. The maintenance man says Devin, super weak. Yeah, maybe. I don't think he's super weak, but I think he was largely unprepared and maybe, like some people say, off cycle and lost some weight. But I do think he might have been weaker than some people thought he would be, right? So yeah, in that sense, I think you are right. But in a general sense, I don't think Devin is weak by any metric. Justin B says, I feel like they could sell a lot more tickets when they have guys like Devin and John in the States. I agree. Yeah. I do think we have those kinds of people coming from the East too. It's just, it's still different, right, to a degree. Like, take Prudnik. I think Prudnik is a great showman, and he tries to do new stuff, right, in order to promote matches and in order to get hype up for the matches. So I think Prudnik is doing a pretty good job at that too, over in the East. But I think in general it is true that you have less characters like Devin and John to a degree than you have in the States. Okay. Chuck. That's good. Only the Dutch leave. I don't want any Dutchies here. Tomer says WAL had a table in the middle too. The fans were really close too, which made the atmosphere electric. Did they though? I guess yeah, in some editions they did, right? But I'm thinking back to other matches, and at a certain point he kind of got away from it, right? And did like a half circle kind of thing. But yeah, you're right, they did do that at some point. Atlantis says, I give props to Prudnik for trying at least. He's going more of a comedic route rather than WWE drama route. Yeah. I don't care that much about which route they take, as long as they're very much themselves and insert, I don't know, something that gives some insights to who they are, right, as a person. Some insight into their character, and I think Prudnik did that pretty well. Chuck says, what about Hollanders in there? They're not welcome either. To me, They're one and the same, Chuck. Hollanders and Dutchies, both the same. I might speak their language, but I hate their guts. Andre says, Arm Historian, do you plan to do a history video on Yoshi Kanai? Since he's gonna compete at East vs West soon and he's a legend on its own. Now there's a good idea, Andre. Funnily enough, Yoshi isn't on my shortlist yet. Yeah, and it definitely should be. Thank you for reminding me, Andre. Yeah, for sure. Good suggestion there. Tomer says, I do love arm wrestling, but I can't lie. If it were not for Devin and Arm Historian, I would probably have leave the sport. Yeah, we all have those people, right? That's... Thank you for mentioning me. Even in the same breath as Devin there. As far as arm wrestling goes. But... yeah, I think we all have those people. For sure, I have those kinds of people too. Like I said earlier, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here either. I would probably still be arm wrestling, but yeah, I probably wouldn't be making any content or wouldn't be as involved with the community as I am now. And that's fine, Chuck. Good that you even know about Holland. Just full disclosure, although I think if any Dutchies are watching in the future or presently in the chat, I think they do know that I'm joking here. I love the Dutch people. I love visiting your wonderful country and yeah, making use of your great shopping opportunities over there. Mr. Peanut said NWL went broke, so we can always learn from past events. True, although WAL, I don't think if they were ever profitable, I don't think Steve Kaplan had profits in mind for the first couple of editions. Although Steve is a proven businessman, so at the end of the day, that's probably why it stopped, right? But yeah, I do think from the start he kind of expected to run at a loss and then at a certain point recoup those losses, right? As far as I'm aware, that was his plan at the start. Justin B says, I think fans in the States are starving for high-level arm wrestling to watch live. I know I am. Yeah, man. That's true. I think in general, you can get people hyped with live events for sure. I think even if you would organize an event here, you get quite a bit of people showing up. Tomer says, I understand your hate for the Dutch. I don't really hate them, Tomer. I have it for the French after a literal 100-year war with them. Yeah, the French, very popular people to hate. We have our own issues with them. Yes, Chuck, I love the Dutchess coffee. They make the best coffee over there. If you ever go to the Netherlands, definitely visit shops that have to do with coffee, because their coffee is great. Andre says, thanks to you for replying under a Reddit post, otherwise I wouldn't have thought about asking for a possibility of a video on Yoshi. Yoshi. Since we have no idea about Yoshi now, maybe you can find something. I'll do my very best. Awesome. Yeah, I do remember that post on Reddit, for sure. Many people don't even know Yoshi, that's true. There's a lot of people, there's so many people that I can still make videos on. It's just like you mentioned, how much information is actually out there, right? Because you'd be surprised, some people, there's so little out there about them. And yeah, I don't like speculating. Sometimes I do, but not when I make videos. Atlantis says, with so many under contracts now, it ruins something like that though. Yeah, the whole contract thing is another thing. I have my own opinion on that, subdued as it may be by now. I do have my own opinions on that. Justin B says, White Wolf, where will the next Arm Gods be held at? That's a good question. Chuck says, he just remembered something. Shoot it at me, Chuck. I think we've covered most of the matches, right? Some more deeply than others. Unfortunate for Paulin that he couldn't take the win here over Babayev, but I think he did put up a good performance, right? As did Rustam, of course. We don't expect anything different from him by now. But I think Paulin did prove that he belongs at the top of the class somewhere, right? Top of the middleweights in some capacity. So yeah, really good result, I think, for him at the end of the day, although he might not be happy not getting the win. I think he still did really well, and he's nothing to be ashamed of. Justin Bishop, Yanis Amelins. I think this was a really great match, wasn't it? Like, Justin Bishop was up first, pretty convincingly it seemed, but then Yanis managed to pull it back and won in the end, like a 3-2 victory, I believe. Not 100% on that, but yeah, that's what my memory is telling me right now. So yeah, really good match. Matt Mask versus Lars. I think Matt Mask took it convincingly, right? I think I missed some of this match, unfortunately. Also because the stream went down, if I remember correctly, but yeah, Matt Mask definitely got the win over Lars, which is nice. Love to see it. I love both these guys as arm wrestlers. I think they're great. Like I said in my video on East vs West 14, they're kind of opposites as far as mentality on the table goes. Matt Mask is a very explosive, kind of impulsive puller in a lot of ways. Well, I think Lars is a more thoughtful, wait and see kind of guy in some... He can be fast and he can hit hard, of course. But I think, yeah, he relies less on instinct maybe and more on his mind during the match. But yeah, Matt Mask took the win. Very well earned. Unfortunately, Artem Taranenko wasn't so lucky. Didn't take the win versus the GOAT, Mindaugas. Yeah. Not a lot to say about this match. Pretty one-sided, unfortunately. He tried. Artem Taranenko is a tenacious puller and he didn't give up. He tried a lot of different angles. I don't have any info about the next king of the table, Chuck, not offhand. Mr. Pina says WL Kaplan, now if a billionaire was at any time not worried about making money, why would he just bail and fail to pay the biggest event he ever promoted? Yeah, I know the Las Vegas prize you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about, which year was it? 2017 WAL finals, right? I don't know, I don't think Steve Kaplan is a billionaire, is he? I think he's a millionaire. But is he a billionaire? I don't think so, right? I know he sold a couple of companies, released some books. But is he truly a billionaire? I don't know. Giannis is a beast, indeed. Indeed, he is. Yeah, a lot of good matches. I love the event in general. These guys both had opposite energy too, but I think was a pretty good match. Either one of them could have taken it. Hunter and Knopfs took it in the end. Sorry about that. Yeah, good match. Fresh versus Paul Talbot, we've talked about this. Love me some Fresh. Yeah, we talked about Elizabeth Mocek versus Alexandra Ozerova. Jonathan Breda versus Aymeric Pradines. Not a lot of love lost in the crowd for Aymeric Pradines. Poor Aymeric, talking about the French here earlier. Yeah. It's funny hearing him talk with his, like his corner man, talking to each other in French during the match. Yeah, good match. I think Aymeric took it in the end, but it looked like Jonathan Breda was taking it. if I remember correctly, Aymeric did take it, or did Breda take it in the end? I don't quite know. It was early on in the event. Someone remind me in chat, please, if you know. Chuck said, chat broke for me. I don't see anything in chat window. Unfortunate, Chuck. You can still see the chat on the live stream itself, I believe. And otherwise you could try a refresh. That usually takes care of the problem. Are you on mobile or desktop? T-Val says the look when Doug realized he was going to lose was priceless. That's true though. Yeah, like his mood dropped tremendously during that match. Mr. Peanut says WAL Money Trail is evidence of a failed business plan. Kaplan makes movies and shows that make money. Money, that's the motivation. Yeah, I never said money wasn't his main motivation. I think it is. I think it's just that his business plan with this particular venture was pump a lot of money into it on the front end and try to recuperate the losses you made in the early like the early editions, try to recuperate them in the later editions once you've pumped in enough money to grow the sport to a level where it should be. Now, of course, that didn't happen, which is part of the reason why the 2017 and so on happened and why WAL eventually imploded. That and a couple of other things. But yeah, I do see what you're saying, of course. I do think Steve Kaplan's main motivation was to make money. I'm not that naive in thinking he did it for the love of the sport. Just a philanthropist millionaire spending his money on the sport just to see it grow. That's not the case, I know that. But I do think his game plan was what I just said. Chuck says, now it works. I just had to loiter on it. Loiter away in chat. Okay, it seems a lot of people had to refresh. T-Val says, Breda got cocky, went inside and never recovered. He could have won 3-0. Hubris is dangerous, though. True. I saw that in several... There was one other case where someone was like posing. I think it was Michael Todd, right? At a certain point. Was it Michael? I can't quite remember. Someone was posing to the crowd at a certain point and then like almost got pressed. I think it was Michael versus Camille. No, I can't be too sure. But yeah, I think we covered all the matches, right? We went over each and every one of them. I'll just quickly summarize. I really loved the event. I usually like East versus West events, but I think this one did a lot of things right. Improved on some things. And in general, just the crowd atmosphere was really good. The camera angles were really good. A couple of audio issues, which is unfortunate because that does take away a lot from the overall experience. But all in all, I think in general, I think you can call this a success, right? I'd always be interested to see how profitable these events are, actually. Because you read a lot of speculation about it, you hear a lot of stuff. But you can never be too sure. So I'd love to see that at some point. I don't think it'll ever be really released officially, but yeah. T-Val says, yeah, Michael post second round and almost lost indeed. Phil Woody, how you doing, Phil Woody? Good to see you coming in at the end here, says best East versus West yet. I agree. How much was this one? I believe it was 20 doll hairs, right? 20 euros or dollars. Something like that. Yeah, that being said, I think we went over every match. I'm about ready to call it a night. I had a lot of fun. I stayed on a lot longer than I thought I would. Stayed on for more than 2 hours while I was planning on staying on for an hour or something. Thank you everyone who donated the super chat today, everyone who was here talking in chat or just lurking, listening. I greatly enjoyed this, as I do almost every Sunday. Catch me again next Sunday, same time, same place. I'll be here. I hope you will be too. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you then. And have a good night. Have a good rest of your day. Try to get some arm wrestling in. Maybe some training during the week. And keep me posted on that during next week's live stream. I'd love to hear that. Yeah, until then, catch you guys later. And as always, Arm Historian out. Bye-bye.